I think one of the more concerning content creators that I've seen on social media recently that always kind of give me pause are large families. And what I've seen out of a lot of the large families with a lot of children. So I'm not talking about grown adults, but I'm talking about families with a lot of children. Um, you know, some of the more concerning content creators that make content around their children, a lot of their children, from what I'm noticing, don't appear to be happy children. A lot of them appear to be solemn, almost just sort of down or despondent. And so it's just one of those subtleties that I've noticed, when I'm looking at, just sort of these large families with all these kids that sort of their whole premise on their social media is to sort of, I love my kids, this is how I'm spoiling my kids, but their kids don't actually look spoiled, if that makes sense. But there's sort of like a sadness. And for me, I've worked with abusive children, many abusive children over the years. You know, you can look, not always. Some children are good at masking at it, but again, if you've seen it enough, you can sort of look at a child's eyes and sort of watch their behavior, and also look at how they appear relative to their parent, sort of how they engage, how they interact. If they're more of just sort of like a servant, like I'm just sort of following orders, or I'll take food if you hand it to me, but I'm not really happy to be engaging with you. Like the children never smile, and there's not really any sense of happiness. The children don't smile, and the children aren't talkative, but they're just sort of like, they're moving through like servants, like, okay, we're doing what's expected of us. We're a little too perfect. We're a little too quiet. And so that's something that I've been noticing a lot. And I'm not gonna name any names, but I've seen it with quite a few of these larger families that sort of tout that like we're this big, large, happy family, and I'm going to show you how I just love all my kids, and they have quite a big following. But I look at body language, and so something doesn't always add up to be quite right with some of these content creators. And again, I'm not going to name names. I'm not going to say it's I'm not going to give broad strokes and say it's everybody, if that makes sense, but just the ones that I have seen for sure. So just something to be on the lookout for as you're consuming social media. Everything is not always as it seems. Your favorite people can actually be the biggest abusers. And again, I've seen it all over the years. So, abusers often have charm and charisma and can sell you something. So they're good at selling people something. And a lot of times what they're good at selling is an image or a story. And I've seen quite a few people that sell a story and an image, and unfortunately use their children. And I know I've done a post about using their children in social media. I personally think that's red flag number one for anybody who does that. And I don't care who's watching this. Anybody who's using their kids to make money is a huge red flag for me. Period. Full stop. But anyhow, you can start to see again a little bit more beneath the line, beneath the surface. And I think the bigger they try to make it appear, the bigger they are trying to make it appear as though we're this wonderful, happy, we're the Waltons, essentially, like we're this big, wonderful, happy family. The more I see that the words and the behaviors don't necessarily match up. And I'm curious to know if other people have noticed some of the same things, or had some inklings. And you know, I don't really need to call people out or anything like that, not necessarily by names, unless there's something that you actually see that was like physical, you know. So just my thoughts. Like, follow, and share. Thank you so much.